Hey, my name is Bradley Ingram. This is my technical walkthrough for my feature I created. First off, I'm going to start off at BPBot and show what I added in here. I just added a variable for hash shield. It's just a boolean, it's just checking if he has the shield or not. And then on the spawn and possess, it just automatically sets it to that. And then down here, on the damage, it says it's just checking a branch if it has shield or not. If it does have the shield, it's not going to do anything. If it does, that's when you take the damage. I also added a shield, which is just a sphere with the little visual aspect, and then I added in the shield UI, which just looks almost identical to the shield bar. It looks almost identical to the health bar with the little text icon on it. And then from there, I'll just go ahead to my shield pickup. On the begin play, it just sets the shield capacity on overlap. It's gonna come and it's gonna check for edge cases that I created, and then it's gonna go through and when you first pick it up, it's gonna add to a multiplier that I created. So the add multiplier I created, a subtract is just like it. It just adds to the multiplier. That is one of the new variables that I added in, and then from there it'll move over to the update multiplier, which is just updating the multiplier or the modifier that is on my UI. And then it'll go over here, and then it checks to see if it's 2 or higher. If it is 2 or higher, it's going to handle multiple shields, which all that does is it's just going to set that shield to cooldown, which it should automatically do that. It should do that anyway, but if it's the first shield, it's going to go to activate shield. And since the activate shield actually checks for multipliers, or the reduce shield checks for multipliers, so that doesn't have to have a send over to it. And activate shield is just going to set that boolean to active, and then it's going to set some of these parameters, change the visibility of a few things, make a few things visible, and then it's going to run the ones on my actual UI for setting the capacity and activating it. And from there, it's just going to head to reduce shield. On reduce shield, I got a macro which is just checking to see if the bot's active or not. And it's going to see if the bot's active. If it's not the one that's active, it's going to set the multiplier to 0, and then change the visibility of a few aspects. And then this is my makeshift delay, which is a different kind of delay. So it's has a timer, and then it's going to subtract 1 from it, and then over here it's actually going to go back to the beginning of it and do it again until it reaches 0, and then once it does reach 0, it's going to reduce the multiplier by 1, and then down here it's going to actually check to see if that multiplier is 0 yet. If it's not, it's going to go back to the beginning, start over, and then it's going to going back to activate, and it's going to go down to reduce. And then down here, once it is 0, 0 and 0 is going to come to changing the visibility of those same aspects again, and changing that boolean back to false. On the cooldown itself, all it's doing is deactivating the pickup area which is it's the hitbox, or not the hitbox, the collision box, and changing the visibility for that pickup. It just has its own delay, which is the shield base, which is the duration of how long it's going to be, and then after that delay is just going to reset it and put everything back to normal, and then all that. The edge cases that I had were a few different ones. So at that point up here, all it does is checks, and then if it does, it's going to do that as parameters. And then here is where it happens. So it's going to go through a sequence of going through all these. All it's going to do is check to see if that boolean is true. If it is, it's going to set these parameters. It's going to check to see if this boolean is true. If it does, it's going to set these parameters, which is the jump velocity, the walk speed. And then on the last one, it's just going to check and see if this one is true. And if it is, it's just going to set the max health down to 10. And then it updates the UI. That's pretty much the technical aspect of everything.